Hey there guys, this is Richard, your host, with another marvelous video. Fans of the gothic horror genre definitely know about the iconic Addams Family. I mean, what's not to love about a family of terrifyingly beautiful outcasts? For those unaware, American cartoonist Charles Addams created the fictitious Addams Family. About half of the 150 separate single-panel cartoons that originally contained them were published in The New Yorker, spanning 50 glorious years, beginning in 1938. Later, they were developed into other forms of media, including a musical, multiple films, video games, cartoons, television, comics, and other merchandise including dolls and figurines. Netflix has just released a series dedicated to Wednesday Addams, the eldest daughter of the Addams family. So it's only right that we delve into the origins of this macabre family and what Wednesday gets up to in the show. Keep watching. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Who are the Addams Family? Let's start from the very beginning, all the way back when the Addams Family was created. The Addamses are a dark caricature version of the model 20th century American family. An irregular, rich, and ghoulish family that seem oblivious of or indifferent about how odd they seem or how horrifying they are to others. The Addams Family consists of Gomez and Morticia Addams, their kids Wednesday and Pugsley, their relatives Uncle Fester and Grandmama, their butler Lurch, and Pugsley's pet octopus Aristotle. All these characters were established in the 1964 television series. In 1954, the dimly lit thing, later revealed to be a disembodied hand, was launched as a family pet of sorts, and in 1964, Gomez's cousin It and Morticia's pet lion Kitty Cat were introduced. In the 1993 movie Addams Family Values, Pubert Addams, Wednesday and Pugsley's infant brother, was featured, rounding out the members of the Addams Family. Their portrayal juggled comedy, camp, and horror beautifully. The Addamses really aren't evil, despite the fact that most of the humor comes from the fact that they have similar grisly interests, like putting themselves and each other in danger of serious bodily injury that has no apparent effect. A close-knit extended family they are. According to the television series, Morticia is a model mother, and Gomez and her still have a strong romantic bond, a bond they're not hesitant about showing off. Except in the 2019 movie, when Wednesday comes home donning a pink outfit, the parents embrace their kids fully, being extremely supportive of whatever it is that they want to do. Despite the visitors' sheer terror at the Addams' peculiar way of life, the family is always welcoming and friendly to guests, and in some cases, it's even willing to donate sizable sums of money to charitable causes. The family has had a significant impact on American television, movies, and comic books. It's also been cited as a source of inspiration for Gothic fashion. The Addamses are one of the most recognizable families in American collective memory, up alongside the Kennedys, according to The Telegraph. Similar to how the Kennedys and the Roosevelts were such an integral part of the American soul that it's impossible to talk about the country's history without acknowledging them, and Time magazine once compared the family's significance and the socio-cultural reach to those of these other famous families. According to TV Guide, the Addamses provided the prototype for cartoonish families to come, like the Flintstones and the Simpsons, ranking the characters in the top 10 of the 60 greatest TV families of all time. Fun fact, with the exception of Wednesday and Morticia, who were given their names for a 1962 licensed doll collection, the characters remained unidentified until the introduction of the television adaptation in 1964. And well, talking about Wednesday, character Wednesday, played by Christina Ricci in the movie series, was named one of the 100 greatest movie characters by Empire. So, it's not surprising that Wednesday got her own Netflix series. What is Wednesday, the Netflix series, all about? Based on the Addams Family character, Wednesday is a coming-of-age supernatural comedic horror television series set in the United States. 4 out of the 8 episodes in Season 1 are directed by Tim Burton, who also functions as executive producer on the series, which was created by Alfred Gough and Miles Millar, and stars Jenna Ortega as the titular heroine. Caution, spoilers ahead. Wednesday Addams enrolls in Nevermore Academy in the little town of Jericho after being booted from her high school for wounding her brother Pugsley Pugsley's bullies. Here, she makes both fast friends and terrifying foes. Her parents, Gomez and Morticia, also once attended this institution for frightful misfits. As Wednesday struggles to blend in with her peers and learns to control her psychic skills, she witnesses a slew of killings carried out by an odd monster. She must manage new and complicated relationships, harness her developing psychic gift, and stop a gruesome killing spree that has scared the school for outcasts. As if that wasn't enough, Wednesday also has to solve the paranormal and unexplained murder case that her parents, Morticia and Gomez, were caught up in 25 years ago. She starts off hating her new school, plotting ways to run away or get expelled by the serious and watchful Principal Weems. However, things soon start to go very, very wrong for her, and some unknown entities try killing her 2 times, with both assassination attempts being unsuccessful. When she witnesses the murder of a fellow student at the hands of a monstrous creature called a Hyde, she decides that she can no longer keep out of it, and decides to dive headfirst into a twisted investigation that puts not only her, but her family's life in danger. Although, not everything is bleak for this child of darkness, as she finds 2 potential love interests as she goes along, out of which one of them turns out to be a hideous monster. She also makes a couple of solid friendships along the way. She also learns about the historical struggle between the founder of Jericho Town, Joseph Crackstone, and all the outcasts that historically lived on the land. Crackstone hated outcasts and was famous for burning them at the stake, considering them to be emissaries of hell and mistresses of Satan. Thus, the persecuted outcasts had to take matters into their own hands and turn things around for the town. In fact, Goody Adams, Wednesday's ancestor, is the one who put an end to Joseph Crackstone. However, history always repeats itself and tensions begin to brew between the regular people, or the normies, and the outcasts, and Wednesday finds herself smack dab in the middle of this age-old rivalry. Not only does she have to investigate and locate a murdering monster, but she also has to exonerate her father, who was jailed for the murder of infamous outcast hater and normie Garrett Yates. Hence, as far as the show goes, it gives Wednesday a lot of agency and truly allows her macabre self to come to light. The quirky aspects of her persona are seamlessly weaved into the story in her interactions with friends, peers, and even authority figures. Wednesday is scared of no one, often standing up to the principal and even the county sheriff. All of her shenanigans finally culminate in an epic showdown between her and a decades-old evil Joseph Crackstone himself. The circumstances create a labyrinth of lies, secret societies, hidden libraries, abandoned homes, and blood magic, all to lead her to fulfill her destiny of saving Nevermore Academy from the hands of the colonizing Crackstone. The show is definitely worth a watch and is now airing on Netflix.
Now.
Wednesday Addams Origins. The character of Wednesday Addams was initially featured in Charles Addams' 1938 New Yorker comics. Although the characters in the comic initially lacked names and fixed features, Addams chose names, quirky personalities, and appearances for each character when he adapted his comic for television as The Addams Family in 1964. The family's only daughter and eldest child, Wednesday Addams, was probably given that specific name based on a nursery rhyme that begins with, "Wednesday's child is full of woe." The poem, which gives children personalities based on the day of the week they were born in, at least dates all the way back to the year 1838. The television character had a predilection for chopping off dolls' heads and was, like the rest of her macabre family, unusually morbid and chilly. The character of Wednesday Addams was further explored in the 1991 Addams Family motion picture. The character's long braids and vintage colored dresses from the television series were revived, but with an even more severe gothic twist. She is Pugsley's younger sister in earlier versions, but her character was subsequently changed to be the older sibling in later iterations like the Netflix series. There's no tragic backstory here. She comes from a family that showers her with love, affection, and support. She's simply, well, odd in the most terrifying way. Although, in the new Netflix series, she's shown as being a troublesome child with major issues fitting in with the rest of her peers. She's often viewed as weird or creepy. And while she's not bullied, because, well, no one can bully her, she's definitely an outcast. School-going kids are definitely not the friendliest of the bunch, and seeing someone who is so different did Wednesday no favors while growing up. In fact, we learned that she has had to change over 6 schools in the same year because she simply enjoys torturing kids too much and will retaliate if anyone dares cross her.
At least I'm not an elitist snob.
Her colourful personality. Wednesday's personality has evolved over the years and through numerous adaptations. However, some things have also remained constant. Wednesday's pale skin and long, darkly braided pigtails are her most distinctive traits. She's typically resentful of everything and rarely displays emotion. Wednesday typically dons a white-collared black dress, black stockings, and black shoes. And according to the Netflix series, she's allergic to colour. It apparently causes her severe hives and convulsions, and thus, Nevermore Academy is forced to make a brand new black and white version of their otherwise blue uniform just for Wednesday to wear. As far as her personality goes, she is a young girl who has a death obsession. Often, for fun, or as punishment, Wednesday performs the majority of her experiments on her brother Pugsley Addams. Thus, it comes as no shock that Wednesday has made numerous attempts to kill her own brother Pugsley. Her interests also include keeping spiders as pets and learning all she can about the Bermuda Triangle. Her gothic personality also has a tendency to scare people. I mean, a creepy-looking girl wearing gothic clothing and staring into your soul is bound to scare the crap out of people. She is charming and acts as a counterpoint to her family's eccentricity in the 1960s series, even if her favorite pastime is raising spiders. Oh, she's also a ballerina. Her Marie Antoinette doll, which her brother guillotines at her request, is Wednesday's favorite toy. In the first episode of the television show, she's described as being 6 years old. She's seen to possess a number of other headless dolls in one episode. She also writes poetry for her beloved pet spider Homer and paints drawings, including one of trees with human heads. Wednesday appears to be strong enough to use a judo hold to pull her father to the ground. Pretty impressive for a 6-year-old, eh? She's portrayed in the 1991 movie in a darker light. She has sadistic impulses and a dark attitude, and it's made clear that she's passionate about the secrets that lurk deep within the Bermuda Triangle, and that she admires her ancestor who was burned at the stake in 1706 for witchcraft. She was much darker in the 1993 follow-up, burying a live kitten, attempting to guillotine her infant brother Pubert, setting Camp Chippewa on fire, and terrifying another camper, Joel, literally to death. Wednesday's demeanor is hard to pin down because these movies were the first iteration of the Addams Family, when violent or horrifying deeds could be shown on camera rather than simply being suggested. She's seen successfully electrifying her brother Pugsley in the first movie, although Morticia and she don't seem surprised that he doesn't die or even get hurt. Wednesday maintained her iconic gothic look and her passion for evil and cruelty in the 1990s cartoon series and Canadian TV series The New Addams Family. She's depicted as having her parents' approval to tie Pugsley to a chair and torment him with a branding iron and ice pick. The character of Wednesday Addams, played by Melissa Hunter, also showcased her dark, psychopathic and cruel nature in the parody web series Adult Wednesday Addams, linking with the plot points and depictions of the films in the original cartoons. This Wednesday focuses on becoming an adult after leaving her parents' house. In the same titled 2019 animated film, Wednesday kept her cold demeanor and nasty inclinations, seeking to bury Pugsley and torturing a school bully. She is, despite Morticia's objections, dissatisfied with her macabre and privileged existence and longs to travel. As a result, she becomes friends with Parker Needler, and the two start to resemble one another in various ways, including Wednesday occasionally dressing in vibrant clothing. Her pigtails are braided and culminate in nooses. In the latest Netflix series, Wednesday maintains all these characteristic traits. She's glum and irritable. She prefers having no company and, at one point, even admits to secretly enjoying the fact that everyone dislikes her wherever she goes. She has a sadistic personality, but this time it's not directed toward her brother Pugsley. Instead, she decides to torture Pugsley's bullies in retaliation for all the mean things they do to him. Thus, she is a good sister after all, even if it does get her kicked out of school. Further, she's obsessed with all things black and white, loves keeping taxidermy squirrels and other small animals, writes macabre novels that publishers refuse to read, let alone see the light of day, and is also an absolute badass. It's clear that she's extremely well-read and is an expert on carnivorous plants. She's a hard worker and does whatever she puts her mind to. She also hates losing and will do whatever it takes to obliterate them, literally and figuratively. In this series, Wednesday softens a little by the end as she comes to learn the importance of friendships and even embraces a friend of her own volition, showing affection for the very first time. Hence, she does have a character growth arc in the series. However, don't get me wrong, she still remains the cold-hearted and sadistic girl that everyone loves. What makes her special? Powers and abilities. Prior to the new Netflix series, Wednesday Addams is never known to have any specific supernatural powers. However, this series breathes new life into her role and gives her exclusive psychic powers. Although this is not to say that there has never been anything supernatural about the Addams family prior to this adaptation. In fact, Thing, who is unquestionably a member of the family, is a literal hand with the ability to converse and carry out complex plots. And Grandma in the 1960s was a witch who concocted grotesque and frequently sentient things in a pot. The entire family appears to be able to endure hazards like fires, poison, and lightning shocks that others may probably perish from. Additionally, Uncle Fester's most recent incarnation appears to be doing fine, despite undergoing multiple lobotomies. It's safe to argue that the Addams family history has always had some element of supernatural prowess or power. However, this is the first time that Morticia and Wednesday have used a supernatural power together. Wednesday has the ability to see into the future and also look back into the past. This ability of hers is associated with a sense of touch. When she touches her brother Pugsley early in episode 1, we can see this. She can immediately identify the classmate who harassed her brother thanks to the visions. Wednesday has the ability to view scenes in her psychic visions that show the past or the future associated with whatever or anybody she's touching, right down to seeing people's faces and hearing conversations. In fact, she enrolls in Nevermore Academy as a result of her evil retribution against the bullies she sees in the vision. In a voiceover, Wednesday Addams admits that she unlocked her psychic powers fairly recently. Her clairvoyant visions are used on numerous occasions throughout the season. It initially seems more like a generational curse from her mother Morticia than a blessing. There are two types of psychics according to Morticia: doves and ravens. Now, whereas Morticia is a dove and has more optimistic visions, Wednesday is a raven because of her pessimistic outlook. She can see into the past and future thanks to her more potent and gruesome visions. However, these visions are fast, fleeting, and often incomplete, and it's up to her to figure out what they exactly mean. Visions are never reliable. This is something that's repeated by various characters all throughout the series. However, when Wednesday delves into the mysteries of Nevermore Academy, her psychic vision abilities become quite useful. She has a keen eye for significant features and objects that provide her with solid hints. Morticia cautions Wednesday, though, that she needs to learn how to control them. She might go insane if she doesn't, since her visions are always dark and gruesome, often showing her how people have died or gotten injured and other terrible things. Morticia also informs her that the spirit of an ancestor from their bloodline would reach out to help Wednesday control and hone her powers, much to her relief. And as Wednesday's powers increase, control definitely seems to be a problem. They start out short and vague, much like dreams. She usually stands with her head to the ceiling, eyes open as the visions fill her mind. But as the visions gain strength, Wednesday is able to enter another time and place and even communicate with those inhabitants, experiencing the events as if she was time jumping. She's seen doing this with Goody Addams, a family member who was murdered by pilgrims in Jericho, a normie town close to Nevermore Academy. In fact, it's Goody's spirit that reaches out from the world of the dead to help young Wednesday stop the evil monster and put an end to the attacks on the outcasts. This also adds an interesting twist because it's shown that Goody herself was an incredibly powerful witch, being an expert in black magic, hexing, and all sorts of witchcraft. Thus, there might even be more latent witchy powers flowing in Wednesday's veins. Maybe we'll get to see some of those in Season 2. Getting back to her psychic abilities further, during these visions, Wednesday occasionally finds herself quite exposed on the ground or unable to stand. The fact that the visions can occur at any time, especially when she runs into someone or touches particular items, like a dead student, Rowan's spectacles, makes this a bad situation. She thus looks to Goody for assistance in honing her abilities. Goody, however, explains that she must learn to navigate her abilities since it's like a roaring river and she cannot ever control it. Principal Weems also cautions Wednesday that due to their unpredictable nature and potential for partial truths, her gifts can be harmful. To Wednesday's dismay, the power does take her in the wrong direction, almost costing her new friendships and initially putting the incorrect person in jail. However, she does make things right in the end. Apart from her supernatural ability, she's also highly skilled at fencing, rowing, and archery, along with hand-to-hand combat as well. It's just an all-round bad idea to go up against her. By and large, the Netflix show does a brilliant job of bringing the iconic Wednesday Addams character to life and adding on more to her lore. With her new powers and abilities, she's a force to be reckoned with. The show preserves her dry sense of humor and macabre charm, so even when she's talking about killing people and doing horrifying things to them, there is something quite endearing about her. Have you watched Wednesday on Netflix yet? Tell us what you think about the show in the comment section below. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.
Will today's stalker become tomorrow's nemesis?